Hey guys, it's Spiros from the Self-Help Photographer, and I am just feeling like crap this week. So instead of me doing a regular video, what I'm going to do is show you a segment from the Understanding Flash Photography video course. In this segment, you're going to learn what I think are the most important features on a speedlight flash, which is the flash zoom, the recycle time, and the guide number. So check that out. And if you want information about the video course, the link is down in the description below. I'm sorry I'm not feeling so hot, but I'll be back next week with a full-on video. And remember guys, get out there and take some damn photos. I'll see you guys next week with a full video. Now that we're on the same page with our fundamentals, let's talk about the flash and some of the features and capabilities of the flash. Specifically, we're going to talk about the guide number, the recycle time, and the flash zoom, and then we're going to talk about what TTL is and the difference between TTL and non-TTL flashes. The first thing we want to talk about is the guide number, which is an indication of how powerful the flash is. The guide number is given to us as a measurement of distance. In the case of this 580EX2, it's 190 feet or 54 meters. That number of 190 feet tells us how far the subject can be from the flash and still be illuminated by the flash when taking a photograph. A perfect example of how this works or doesn't work is when you go to a concert and you see people using their phones or point and shoot cameras firing their flashes at the performer on the stage when they are back hundreds of feet from the stage. Those teeny tiny flashes on those cameras do not have the power to illuminate a subject that is that far away. The guide number for a flash on a camera is typically 15 or 20 feet, maybe 30 or 40 feet depending upon the camera. But when you have a flash like this with a guide number of 190 feet, you can illuminate subjects that are quite far from you. Now, it doesn't mean that you can always hit a subject that's 190 feet away from you. You need to be under certain conditions to actually illuminate a subject 190 feet from the camera. To figure out the actual maximum distance you can illuminate a subject with the flash, you do a little math with the guide number. The guide number is the product of the aperture the camera is being set to and the maximum distance that the subject can be from the flash and still be illuminated by the flash. For example, if I have the camera set to f4 for my aperture, the subject can be a maximum of 47.5 feet from this Canon flash in order to be properly illuminated. If you take 4 and multiply it by 47.5 feet, you get 190, which is the guide number of this flash. Now here's an example shot right here, and you can see what I'm talking about. This was shot at 47.5 feet. This first shot is no flash, ISO 100, f4, and 1/250th of a second. This shot right here is the exact same shot, but the flash has been turned on. It is now illuminating my subject. At 47.5 feet, this is considered a proper illumination of the subject. Now if I move back 20 more feet, at 67.5 feet, here's what it looks like with flash. Now the thing about the guide number is it's a guide. It's not a concrete ironclad number because proper illumination of a subject is a completely subjective thing. Because at 67.5 feet, the flash is still illuminating the subject. Compared to 47.5 feet, the 67.5 foot shot has less power from the flash. The main point is that the guide number indicates the power of your flash, and the larger the guide number, the more powerful your flash is. The next thing I want to talk about is the recycle time, which is how long it takes the flash to recharge in between shots. Now I've got a different flash here because this flash has audio beeps that tell you when the flash fires and when it's ready to fire again. And the space in between those beeps, that's the recycle time. That's how long it takes to recharge. So let's take a listen. Fired. Now it's ready to go. And that was maybe 3-4 seconds, which is a decent recycle time. On a speedlight type flash like this, 2 to 4 seconds is considered a good recycle time. Typically, you're going to see a range of recycle times for the flash. It might be something like 0.5 to 6 seconds. And the reason for this is the power setting of the flash and the power source, the batteries or power pack used to power the flash, will have an impact on the flash recycle time. For example, if you use nickel metal hydride rechargeable batteries in your flash, you will typically get faster recycling times than if you use regular alkaline batteries in your flash. And if you use an external battery pack, which holds 8 or sometimes even 12 batteries, you'll get even faster times because you've got that much more power being pumped into the flash. The final feature I want to talk about is the flash zoom. Now this is the capability of the flash to actually move the flash bulb backwards and forwards within the flash head. And what this allows you to do is control the size of the flash beam. You can think of this very much like the zoom on your lens of your camera. When you are at an 18mm zoom on your lens can see a very wide angle of things. And if you fire your flash at 18mm, it will illuminate all of the area that the lens can see. Compare that to this, where you're still seeing the same angle of view with the lens, but the flash head is zoomed to 105mm. And you can see how tightly concentrated the light is in this scene compared to at 18mm when it illuminates the entire scene. So one of the main reasons for having flash zoom is allowing the zoom to adapt the width of the beam to fit what the camera sees with the lens that you're using. Now to illustrate the difference, I just got a couple of plain shots I want to show you here. This first shot here is my backdrop shot with the flash set to 14mm. And you can see that the light is basically spread throughout the entire shot. It's illuminating the entire scene. This shot right here, I changed the zoom of the flash head to 105mm, which tightly focuses the beam. And you can see how concentrated the light is on this shot compared to that first shot. So this zoom feature gives you some control over the shape of the light beam that the flash is putting out. In my opinion, those three features, the guide number, the recycle time, and the flash zoom, are the most important features to consider when looking at a flash. And after